Every few years, we get a quarterback prospect that is game-changing, who has all the tools you look for in a pro quarterback and a guy with immense upside. We often throw around the label generational. And this year, we have a generational quarterback, and his name is Caleb Williams. The USC quarterback is one of the most impressive quarterback prospects from the last few years, and in this video, I will be breaking down what makes him so impressive and going through his strengths, weaknesses, and ultimately where I think he gets drafted in the 2024 NFL Draft. But hey guys, welcome back. And if you are new to the channel, I'm going to be doing many more of these prospect spotlights for a number of players in this upcoming draft class. So if you enjoyed this one, hit that like button, subscribe if you are new, and let's take a look at what makes Caleb Williams so impressive. Right off the bat, Caleb Williams is an unbelievable athlete. He moves really well in the pocket. His footwork is tremendous, but perhaps the greatest trait of Caleb Williams' game is his escapability. The way he is able to evade defenders and run around to buy himself more time is unseen by most quarterbacks in the league. He has excellent speed, as well as footwork and body control, and he is consistently making guys miss their tackles, and he's turning that into big yardage. He's not only able to win with his arm, but also with his legs. In 2022, Caleb Williams ran for 382 yards and added an extra 10 touchdowns with his legs. Williams is reported to run in the high 4.4s or low 4.5s, which is pretty solid speed for a player of his position. Williams holds the single season record for most all-purpose yards by a USC player, and he is on pace to have another record-breaking season in 2023. Through 3 games at the time of recording this, Caleb Williams has 12 touchdowns to 0 interceptions. Another thing that makes Caleb Williams so special is his vision. He does a good job at reading a defense and finding his wide receivers down the field. He makes some incredible throws and puts incredible touch on his passes. In his 2022 Heisman campaign, Williams had a 66.6 completion percentage while throwing for 42 touchdowns and only 5 interceptions. Those are unbelievable numbers, and he shows amazing poise and strength in the pocket with the ability to fit the ball into tight windows. Early on in the 2023 season, his accuracy seems to have gotten even better. He is completing passes at 78.6%, which is absolutely absurd. Granted, they played San Jose State and Stanford as a couple of their matchups, but nonetheless, those are very impressive numbers. He leads the receivers and hits them in motion, and he has incredible ball placement. Lastly, Williams has an absolute rocket for an arm. Williams can push the ball into all 3 levels very efficiently. His deep ball is very impressive, and Williams was absolutely money on completing throws for over 20 yards. He puts the ball right between the numbers and looks comfortable making any throw on the football field. While Williams has so many tools to love, there are a couple of things that aren't ideal with him. For one, it seems he really wants to hold on to the ball for too long and loves to play hero ball. Sometimes it seems he doesn't want to take a simple check down and hit the wide receiver in the flat. He's always looking for a big play down the field. He will be running around in the pocket, trying to buy more time, and sometimes I think he needs to throw the ball away. Instead, he'll hold on to the ball for a really long time and try and find a guy down the field. This is an area that definitely needs to improve when he gets to the NFL. He's always keeping his eyes deep down the field, and sometimes, if he looks down, there's an open man right in front of him that he missed. So that needs to get better. You've got to hit the open man and not always look for a big play. Another thing, Williams is a tad undersized. Only standing at 6'1", that is less than the ideal height for a star quarterback. However, this seems to have changed over the last few years, as we saw Bryce Young go number 1 last year, who stood at 5'11". Smaller quarterbacks have been taken over the last few years, higher and higher, so I really don't think that the size is going to be a huge concern for Williams at the NFL level. Caleb Williams is a very impressive athlete who can use his legs and his arm in multiple different ways, which I think makes him very scheme versatile. I think you could put him into any offensive scheme in the NFL and he could thrive. However, I think his traits would most benefit from playing in an air raid offense. An offense that allows him to use his big arm, throw the ball deep down the field, and has a wide scheme, and I think that would be best for Caleb Williams and his development. For all the reasons I mentioned, Caleb Williams is my QB1, as well as my number 1 overall player in the entire draft class. There are very few players I have ever witnessed with some of his abilities Athletically, mixed with his accuracy, his poise, I think he's the no-brainer number 1. Coming up with the player comparison was a bit difficult. It's hard to find a player who is as accurate with all the athletic traits, and while it is an extremely lofty comparison, the player that I think is most comparable is Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes is one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the NFL, but he also has some amazing magician-like abilities that we see him pull out, where he'll just throw the ball randomly, he'll be running around, and we don't see how he gets away, and he does things very few quarterbacks can do. They both are very good at escaping pressure and buying time with their legs, and Mahomes is the guy who Williams gives me vibes of. That's who I see when I see Caleb Williams. I see a smaller Patrick Mahomes. With all the talent that Caleb Williams has, the raw upside, the athletic ability, the accuracy, the poise, I think no matter what happens, Caleb Williams will be the number 1 overall pick in the 2024 NFL Draft.